we have our All India Lawyers Union President, Senior Advocate Bikash Ranjan Bhattacharya to speak on future of legal profession post COVID-19. We have with us our All India Lawyers Union Vice President, Mr. Somnath Sharma with us. I not waste a single minute. I'll just request Mr. Somnath Sharma to inaugurate this session today, and then we will start off the session of today's topic with Mr. Bikash Ranjan Bhattacharya.
Thank you, Somajit.
Thank you, sir.
Young ladies and gentlemen from bar and the colleges, as soon you will be entering either in the profession or you will join the academics or the bench. This COVID-19 has changed the world, and a very eminent historian, Yuval Noah Harari, said in his a very illuminating article that world will not be same after COVID-19. So when you enter your profession or your avocation or your academics, you will find a different world. Many changes are being brought in substantive law as well as in procedural law. I think you have a very distinguished speaker today, Bikash Ranjan Bhattacharya, a very eminent lawyer, and I hope and trust that you will be benefited by his erudition. Now I request over that Bikash Ranjan Bhattacharya take over the mic.
This is a very important session for all of us. Now the basic question, I'll be very brief to the issue without really there. What is the role of a lawyer? We must first appreciate that what is the legal profession. Sometimes we get confused that the legal profession is another form of trade or business. My appeal to all of you would be to think in the form of a profession which really erupted from the concept of giving service to the common man. The origin of this profession is from this idea that when a society needs the assistance of better intelligent people or mute and helpless people, we the lawyers or the who have been really now prosecuting your studies with a dream to become a lawyer ought to do certain services in the field of law. Our basic duty is to ensure service to the common man. We would responsibility without even thinking of any remuneration in exchange. That is the basic concept. If we pursue this, then I'm sure you will appreciate the role of a person.
Can you
the justice has to be rendered to the people who need it. In our society, we find cross-section of people, a section of people are there who can purchase everything, but a large section of people who cannot really have the access to justice, but the access to justice has to be made through the assistance of the lawyers. So for the role of the lawyers is concerned, I just give certain quotations from the great thinkers. As you have all thought of what can a lawyer do? Here I find the very many judgments delivered by many eminent judges. Their reaction is, great lawyers rise to peaks of eloquence, spiced by lovely phrases. Fortunately, senior counsel maintain a high standard, more light and less hit, discipline and humor, no logomachic tedium, but strict adherence to time allotted and rarely losing temper or indulging in irritable provocation. Therefore, as a lawyer, we have to go be doing best justice to our cerebral power. We are always in battle, but the battle is of not muscle power. Battle would be not of money power, but we'll be engaged in a battle of our cerebral power. The cerebral power would be utilized to render just assistance to the poor. In our country, we have a constitution, the Constitution of India. We, the people of India, has given us this constitution, which ensures social, political, economic justice, which ensures freedom of expression, which ensures dignity of a human being. This being the idea based on fundamental concept of the basic human rights, ensured through the mechanism of justice delivery system. We are a part of this justice delivery system, and to ensure that justice delivery system, we have to earn three important qualities. First of all is to be very firm but docile, friendly to your opponent. You must ensure your client and give him the confidence. Where properly appreciated, then you can discharge your duty as a lawyer. A lawyer must be a fearless fighter. A fighter will try his best, of course, with logic, as the great lawyers have this or acumen. I repeat, they may have to use eloquence with lovely phrases, no verbal judo, no repetitiveness, and this will you access. One of the founder of Lawyers Union, Mr. Escacharia, used to tell us that you have to think that the person who is sitting at the altar as a judge, he has a better acumen than you, and he must have some class bias. But your role should be to secure an order from him by your persuasive wit and intelligence. This wit and intelligence is very much important. And to apply this wit and intelligence, you have to be a well-read person. You not only have to go through the particular sections of a statute, but you have to know the social science. You have to know the psychology of human being, and you have to know where really the shoe pinches. Lawyers are the social engineers. Being a social engineer, you must have to know on which soil you are going to build up a building. If the soil is weak, you have to take a method which is not applicable for a building which is to be constructed in a hard soil. This intelligence are the basic quality of a lawyer, and you must attain that. Now the question is, what would be our position after COVID-19? What COVID-19 has taught us? COVID-19 environments for getting more and more profit from the natural resources. We have destroyed the biodiversity. We have destroyed the ecological balance. Now we face with so many viruses from time to time. And this COVID-19 virus has taught us that you have to be more ecological, you have to be more eco-friendly, you have to be more human-friendly. And the system must ensure for the proper assistance of the common man. This COVID-19 has in fact divided the world in two parts. So clear indication. This division is now in fact is exhibiting in front of us like we see a mango in a tree. Now the so-called first world They have been found to be absolutely tottering under this COVID-19 attack. A small virus, they cannot prevent it. They cannot provide health service to the common man. They cannot provide health service even to the moneyed man. When the America is tottering, the Britain is suffering, Spain, Italy is almost collapsing, Germany is also the fear, then we find that there are other parts of the world be better in a position to deal with this COVID-19 disaster. We have seen how China, where from this first, now this division has taught us one thing which we have been dreaming for long and we have been asking for long, that the social resources must be effectively used for the benefit of the larger section of the society. If you go to the directive principles of the state policy of our constitution, we'll find that particularly Article 39 onwards, they specifically say that natural resources should be utilized for the welfare of the larger section of the society. But in effect, we have found that these natural resources have been used for the benefit of a few at the cost of millions. Then when COVID-19, we have seen how a particular country, having the administration keeping in mind the benevolence and the need of the common people, could organize immediately big hospitals with the assistance of the volunteers from the society. They could establish a big hospital of 1,000 beds within 4 days in China. And thereby they could also effectively utilize this so-called isolation to get the break in the chain of mutation of COVID virus from human to human being. And this system of lockdown, which the China had ensured only when the government had ensured the supply of food and all materials. They had ensured that you did not come alive by the state. That we have seen in China, we have seen in Vietnam, we have seen in Southern America, the Cuba and other countries. We have also seen this in South Korea. They have learned it from the experience of the Chinese on the basis of their own lifestyle, and they could become successful. Whereas the other countries like Spain, Italy, Britain, Germany, America, Brazil, all these countries who are really run by a policy of which the basic intention that the economy must be for the benefit of profit, more profit and more profit. And this profit accumulation, in fact, has made people jobless throughout the country, and we have been fighting for that. In our country, let us come back to our country. The Constitution has ensured us the economic and social justice. Constitution ensured us freedom of thoughts and expression with human dignity. Unless you have human dignity, you cannot think of any thoughts at all, far from freedom of thoughts. Dignity of human being have been thrown into astray. When suddenly a lockdown was declared, these are all necessary. I am talking, this is not really a political issue. This is an issue to deliver justice, and delivery is an imminent, and I am talking here any politics. What I am talking is something out of our empirical experience. We have seen that the people are not getting their basic health services. The lockdown was declared in our country in a short notice of 4 hours. We did not think of the condition which is going to be faced by the millions of people who do not have shelter, millions of people who do not have definite security of food, millions of people who are daily wage earners. These are our countrymen. Our duty is to protect them. Our duty is to render justice to them. It comes upon the lawyers. You see, when the workers were walking miles after miles just to get back to the security of their home, nothing else. These people We have seen, I'm not going to repeat it. Then who has to rescue them? The lawyers. The lawyers have taken up this responsibility upon their shoulder and moved court everywhere, in each high court, in Supreme Court, in West Bengal, in our High Court, we have moved petition, wanted to get the benefits to the workers, to the daily wage earners, to the poor people, and to see that the law is equally made applicable. When we have found that some state had the temerity to suspend the labor laws. The labor laws were enacted after a long struggle. Behind each enactment of labor law, there must be a very important struggle in the society which ultimately got shaped into a law. They wanted to suspend it. I was asking myself, I have also put this question through my Facebook, why can't the government compel the employers to deposit their profit earning, 80% of the profit earning, to the public coffer? If the worker, they can be deprived of their property, and worker property is its own part of labor. Everybody doesn't have property of land or building, but everyone has his own property. Some has intellectual property, some has physical property. The workers, they have their own property, process of their property, the benefit of their labor, then they should compensate them. This is the basic concept. We have seen that even the capitalist world, say the Spain, the Germany, even the England, they have, this government has taken up the responsibility of compensating the workers who have been deprived of their job because of this COVID-19. COVID-19 is a natural disaster, and the government must take the responsibility to mitigate the difficulties which is faced by this disaster. And lawyers are only the organ who can this. And we have seen during this time, everywhere the lawyers have played a splendid role, because they find justice has to be ensured not by mere verbal words, but by effective way of moving court. We have got the result, though may not desired result. That is a different chapter. We shall discuss this in a different issue. But today we are on the role of lawyers. The lawyers have a definite positive role to take up the causes without waiting whether the litigant will come to us, whether I shall get the benefit or not, because my primary motto is to ensure justice. I have to, because after COVID-19, there will be total change of the scenario. The scenario would be now the governments, the policy makers, the economic policy makers have to think of making policies for public health, and fight it out. We therefore want that the lawyers pro COVID-19 has to be more proactive towards the social justice, proactive towards the economic justice, proactive, and our constitution has to be achieved. We have seen how the ruling class is taking advantage in our country of COVID-19. Because of COVID-19, you are disciplined to remain closed down in your home. You are the physical distance, but how can you ensure the justice to those people who are not getting their food? We have to take that stand. We have to make ourselves ready for taking up the cause of justice. So now it would be our duty. Basically, the students who are now budding lawyers, and if you are a budding lawyers, think of being a lawyer for ensuring justice. Somebody might have an idea that after passing the law, I would rather serve the corporate. That you may do, you have the freedom. But at the same time, while serving, you have to ensure how far, by exercise and utilizing your intellect, you can use that corporate resources for the benefit of the other section of the society who are really crying for justice. In our society, a group is crying for justice, and there is another group who can purchase justice. They can engage by making heavy payments the best brains of the country. But by that, we need not get at all scumbled. We have the equal talent. We have to only utilize that talent, and you are no way inferior to anyone whom you are seeing today as big. They have become big because of certain patronization from a particular group of ruling class. And to that, I would just give you one quotation from Lord Denning, which is important for the lawyers. I'm quoting Lord Denning. I asked the question, what is justice? The question has been asked by many men far wiser than you or me, and no one has yet found a satisfactory answer. All I would suggest is that justice is not something you can see. It is not temporal but eternal. How does man know what is justice? It is not the product of his intellect but of his spirit. The nearest we can get for defining justice is to say that it is what the right-minded members of the community, those who have the right spirit within them, believe to be fair. So, you see how great is the responsibility which rests upon the lawyers. They represent the right-minded members of the community in seeking to do what is fair between man and between man and the state. And they can only do this by means of just laws, justly administered. Now, if you follow the Lord Denning, his comments on this, we have always to realize that justice cannot be seen, but it has to be appreciated. And this appreciation must be done by you to do what is fair between the man and what is fair between the man and the state. Post COVID-19, that will be the more important role they have to find out. Here also, may I just take the advantage of quoting Justice Chagla. He had once commenced, but the lawyer must be interested in the rule of law. The meaning of this expression has had considerable extension in modern times. At one time, it meant the supremacy of law and the equality of every person before the law. But as society developed, it was realized that this was too narrow an interpretation of that expression. It has now come to be accepted that the rule of law can only be effective in a country provided the conditions are such that the dignity of the human personality and the liberty of the individual are respected. Law cannot function in a vacuum. If sections of society are deprived of the benefits of law and are treated as second-class citizens, or if the law does not protect the liberty of the individual, then it would be meaningless to say that the rule of law prevails. This is the realization of a former Chief Justice of the country, Mr. Justice Chagla. He says that unless we can do the respectful things for the poorer of the society and the dignity of them is upheld, the individual liberty is protected, then there is no rule of law, and the lawyers would have no role to play unless there is rule of law. Therefore, the lawyers have to go on making effort after effort after effort all through to ensure the rule of law. Now we find in our country, come back to the reality and I conclude. Here we find that the persons who had a decent voice, who had launched an agitation for the cause of the people, they are being taken into custody. They are being implicated with UAPA, a black law, a UAPA law to prevent the terrorism. Now, if you say that the government policy is bad, you have been maligned as terrorist, and thereby you are put behind the bar. Whether you are an intellectual, you are a professor, you are a student, you are a social worker, your freedom of expression, liberty are being throttled, taking the advantage of COVID situation. The lawyers have to take up these causes, COVID-19. When COVID-19 would or may not be tackled, we have to, society and economic system must be for the benefit of the larger community and for individual dignity liberty, and respect. We have seen how the individual dignity in our country has been squandered by the government when the government, through its counsel in court, says that there is no one who is walking on the street to go back to home. Such a false statement is reflection of the government, which is clear violation of the rule of law. Lawyers have to take up this cause post COVID-19. These are my very short and humble submissions for you. Thank you.
We will take a few questions from the students.
Please.
Yeah, there's a question from the students that post COVID-19, there is an issue that people will consider, because considering the economic slowdown and the economic crisis, people will consider litigation as a lavishness. And don't you think that people will rather keep themselves away from court and resolve their disputes amicably out of court?
You see, the role of the lawyers is to give this confidence to the people, the common man, that seeking justice is not very costly. If you can give this feeling that if you want to get justice, come to the court, for that you don't have to think of wasting your money, then they will come and they will definitely go for justice. Basically, human being is a justice seeker. But getting matters settled is also another form of justice. But the settlement must be on equal terms. If the settlement is such that one powerful person asks the other one to put his signature on the dotted line, this unequal settlement would be between two unequal parties that would hit Article 14 of the Constitution. Therefore, as lawyer and as lawyer organization, we have to reach the common man to give him assistance. That's the basic role of the lawyer. If we can do that, then people will definitely think that the legal system is much more important for solution than by surrendering on signing under the dotted line.
Okay, thank you, sir. So do you think that ADR and mediation will again set a new avenue for the lawyers, especially the young lawyers?
ADR negotiation, these are all of system of this ADR and mediation. This also requires expertise. With the assistance of lawyers, we can get the matter settled early. This is also, I repeat, giving justice to the common man.
Okay, thank you, sir. There is one question, sir. Do you think that lockdown has made us realize that laws that are already existing are lacking implementation properly?
Of course, so in our society, I have also referred to while deliberation and during my deliberation that the laws are not properly implemented. I had quoted Justice Chagla where say the rule of law, unless it is to ensure the human dignity and liberty of thoughts, therefore there will be no rule of law. And if there is no rule of law, then the lawyers have no role. Lawyers' basic duty is to ensure rule of law. Therefore, we have to ensure that the laws which are available for common man's justice are properly implemented.
Okay. There is one other question.
Somaji,
This
Somaji,
online hearing.
Somaji,
Yes, yes, sir.
I want to say something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
In this COVID period, the biggest casualty is the dignity of the human, which is part and parcel of Article 21.
That's a preamble. Therefore, whether it was in 21 or not doesn't matter. The preamble says dignity of human being. You are right, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, sir. There is one other question. The civil disputes in this COVID situation has been piling up since the suit courts are not in function. In fact, we have no knowledge when will this situation be lifted. Now we all know about the saying that justice delayed is justice denied. Is this situation going to be a classic example for that, or can the judiciary come up with a unique solution for this unique situation?
All of us have to sit together and find out the method for quick disposal of cases. There would definitely be another set of backlogs because of this pandemic situation, which will add to the existing backlog. Now, all the courts have to find out the better means, maybe setting up ad hoc courts, maybe setting up mobile courts to ensure the disposal of petty civil matters.
There is another post COVID-19. Artificial intelligence has to imply more and more into the justice system. What do you think?
You see, my experience attending virtual court, I say this is absolutely bogus. The justice delivery system depends on human touch, human feeling. Now, the communication between judge and the lawyer through virtual communication is absolutely no communication. This is not going to be fructified in effectivity. Therefore, the physical appearance, maybe with limited time, would be necessary for doing effective justice.
Okay. Thank you, sir. In the present scenario, many health professionals came up with the concept of online consultation, which is indirectly opening a new sphere of telemedicine. Hence, my question is that what will be the accountability of the government and the role of judiciary in cases of medical negligence?
You see, the telemedicine, they have really codified certain guidelines that has to be tested by the professionals in that particular field. But negligence cannot be avoided or cannot be suppressed by saying this was a tele-advice. If you give an advice which is apparently a negligent act on your part, you have to face the law as it is.
Okay. Recently, there was a plea filed before the Supreme Court on the issue of SC registry working in a discriminatory matter. That I know the student has asked that a matter to be listed before the court, lawyer needs to take recourse of certain other measures in order to get the matter listed within such shorter period in lower courts, high courts. How to this concept was again explained to us with regard to the roster in the Supreme Court also. That part also was mentioned by Mr. Prashant Bhushan in our previous conference. So have things changed over the year or post COVID-19? Do you think this scenario will change and the Supreme Court?
What my young friend is talking about is the corruption.
Corruption and the judiciary part.
Corruption is there, and it will continue to be there if the matters are not properly streamlined. If the matters are properly streamlined and a particular rule is followed strictly, then there will be no corruption. Unfortunately, the rules are not followed. Rules are followed by breach. This can be lawyers in one voice comes at the larger interest of the society. But unfortunately, some of us take the recourse of this corrupt practice as well. So I would invite young lawyers to always keep themselves off from this corrupt practice and raise your voice against the corrupt practice. That will bring the things into order.
Okay. And there is another issue also, that previously the law students during course of internship or their court visits, they used to gather in the courts in numbers and listen to court proceedings, suppose for 2 weeks, 4 weeks. Now due to this COVID-19 situation, it is now difficult for them to go to courts and see the hearings and learn something. What do you suggest to be an alternative way so that they can upgrade themselves in this period?
No, alternative way would be that they may attend the court maintaining the physical distance and following the COVID norm, but some time would definitely be required to get accustomed with this system, and the court visit frequency should also be increased to ensure that all physical. These are the modicums which can be sorted out. It's not very difficult one.
That means the next question, whether the term declared during COVID-19 as social distance is appropriate in eye of social jurisprudence in place of physical distance?
Thank you for this question. I have already had made a publication in my Facebook that this social distance is a wrong coinage. It cannot be used. It should be physical distance. We have to be socially close, physically distance. That should be the attitude. Not social distance is a wrong concept.
There is another second question from a law student. Please ask fast.
Let it be last question.
Yeah, this is the last question. Shomujit, please ask. Oh, in this COVID situation, as the tribunals are not also functional, in many cases, the state authority is exerting vengeance upon the rebellious employees by harsh transfer and others. The settled principle of law is that the court would not generally interfere in cases regarding transfer. What remedy can be provided to those victims of state vengeance?
You see, this would be a mala fide transfer. As you know, law is well settled. If the transfer is made mala fide or as a punishment order, then court can interfere. Therefore, we have to impress upon the court with all the factual background and our intelligence that these transfers are not routine transfer, because during the COVID, there shouldn't be any transfer as per the government previously declared policy. Therefore, these transfers are penal transfer, and I believe if the judges are up to the occasion and are also of the view of maintaining the rule of law, then they will definitely uphold their contention.
Okay, thank you, sir, and
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amended by the state government through the ordinance. Is it against the Article 21 of the Constitution?
Which ordinance?
Would you please repeat your question?
Sir, by the ordinance, they have the state government, UP, MP and other state government has amended the right of the trade union for the negotiation or the working hour HOER in place of 12 hours or 8 hours. They
have withdrawn it. They have withdrawn it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Whether
you, sir.
it's against the Article 21?
Yes.
Yes.
I take the permission of Mr. Somdat Sharma.
Yes.
I would, if sir, you would permit, I'll give a vote of thanks and then just wind up to this session.
Please do.
Thank you all participants. We had 135 participants today. Thank you everyone. Thank you all law students all over the country, young lawyers, senior lawyers from the state and all over the country. I thank you all the National Secretariat members who have been present in this, National Working Committee members, National Council members, and our state leaders of our organization. I thank everybody for their cooperation for making this entire webinar session a huge success. I once again thank our Secretary Arindam Bhattacharya. I thank Mr. Somdat Sharma for taking out time for this session and giving his valuable inputs at the initial initiation of the session and just motivating us a lot. I hope everybody has enjoyed this session. Thank you and goodbye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.